So at this point, we have added, or we have two style sheets right now in our example. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here to explain the rules of CSS, just to kind of like recap. So a CSS has different components. Has a selector, so basically it can be something like this. So this is a selector. So a selector can be, for example, sorry, that's a typo there. Selector. Perfect. A selector can be a element, in this case h1. A selector also can be a ID and also can be a class. So just remember that. So that's kind of the first rule. The second part of the rule, basically after the selector, we have to open and close brackets. So basically we have to open that curly bracket there. And then we have a property and a value. So just remember that. So we have basically a property, then we have a column, then a space, and then we have a value, and then we have a semicolon. Now, a selector can have as many property values like as we can. So we can change more properties to this particular h1. So in this case, for example, if I follow the rule, we can have one property that I'm going to change is going to be width. Oh, sorry. This is happening because I haven't closed the CSS comments. So I have to close them here. Perfect. So width is going to be 50%. And there's another video that I'm going to explain what these values means and all that stuff. So I can have my first basically CSS rule is I'm going to change the color to blue. The width is going to be 50%. I can also change, for example, the borders. Now, with the border, it's a little bit interesting because border has, or at least need 3 values to work properly. Now, these values don't have to go in this order, but they have to have 3 values. For example, I have to select the type of line that I want. In this case, I'm going to do a solid line. Then I'm going to select or decide how thick I want this line to be. So in this case, I'm going to do it 5px. So you notice right away that the line change is thicker right now, and what kind of color. In this case, because the h1 is blue, these the browser is making the assumption, or is basically letting the border property to inherit the color blue. But in this case, I don't want it blue, I want it red. So if I change that, now you can see, if I click away, you can see that my h1 has a color property of blue. The width is 50%, basically it's using just 50% of the screen, and the border is a solid with 5px and red.